I'm Beth Sewald, President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. We are here in our nation's capital on our 2025 Washington, D.C. fly-in, where we have brought a record number of Nevadans to D.C. So you could say it's LV in D.C. On this edition of Taking Care of Business, we talk to our entire Nevada delegation. Join us. Don't miss this episode of Taking Care of Business. The 2025 Vegas Chamber Washington, D.C. fly-in was nothing short of extraordinary.
More than 300 Nevadans from every corner of our state joined us in our nation's capital. And this year, we welcomed a record number of first-timers, with over 40% experiencing this trip for the very first time. Together, we met with our Nevada delegation, engaged in powerful policy briefings, and had a true seat at the table for the conversations that shape our future back home. These moments matter, and your voice mattered in every room. I want to thank the incredible Vegas Chamber team who worked around the clock, early mornings, late nights, and everything in between to make this experience possible. Their passion and dedication ensure every one of us walks away with lasting connections and real impact.
To those here tonight, spread the word.
Share what you experienced and invite others to join us, because next year's fly-in will be even more special. We'll return to Washington, D.C. to celebrate America's 250th birthday together.
This is about Nevada, our people, our voice, and our united future. I'm Beth Sewald with the Vegas Chamber, and we are here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on the Vegas Chamber's 2025 Washington, D.C. fly-in, and I am so honored today to be here with Congresswoman Susie Lee. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, thanks. We're excited to have Las Vegas and Washington.
Absolutely, and I know you're busy. You've got a lot of priorities. You're on the Problem Solvers Caucus. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there and what are some of your other priorities that you're working on right now?
Yeah, so the Problem Solvers Caucus is the caucus of half Democrats, half Republicans, and it's really comprised of members who really try to roll up our sleeves and address some of the problems that really we need to address in a bipartisan manner to move our government and our country forward. Some of the big priorities that we're focusing on, which really will have an impact in Nevada, especially with respect to housing, is permitting reform. We have seen so many times, and you can hear it from our home builders, the cost of housing is such an issue for families, affordable housing, but there's so many levels of red tape with respect to, especially in Nevada, where 80% of our land is BLM controlled, to get that land available for development. So permitting reform also goes into energy development as well, and we have a huge solar industry, of course, in Nevada as well, which we can talk about in a second, which is under extreme pressure, but that's a big issue. And then, of course, immigration reform. I think we all believe that we need to protect our borders and close our borders, but Nevada is ground zero for understanding that the policies that have been in place for years have not really kept pace with what we need to do to make sure we're bringing the people we want to our country. We're processing them in a fair, fast, and final manner. And of course, we have so many immigrant workers in our community. And then, of course, bringing down costs. That's obviously something that we're all focused on as we go into this final negotiation on our spending bill, making sure that we're advancing policies that reduce costs for working families.
Well, and then, I mean, tariffs and trade in terms of our local small businesses in Southern Nevada and across the state are a little bit nervous about that.
Absolutely. We're seeing the impact of this chaotic tariff policy. And let's be clear that concentrated strategic tariffs are important to try to bring back production to the United States. But when you do blanket tariffs, specifically on Canada, which we're seeing the impacts on our tourism numbers down about 15%. Much of that is driven by repercussions that come from these blanket tariffs, and of course, increasing the cost of housing materials. Home builders are saying that the cost of housing will go up about 6% as a result of the tariffs' impact on materials. So I think that using tariff policy as a negotiating tool has had some benefits, but we need to see more strategy when it comes to that.
And then, as you know, tourism we're facing a few challenges with tourism in Southern Nevada. Have you had conversations with other members of the delegation or other members of Congress regarding that?
Absolutely. And I think that, this just hits home to something that you've been advocating for and we've been talking about, which is our need to diversify our economy. We have great companies that have chosen to come to Nevada that are helping us, and we need to continue to identify sectors, as you know all too well, that we want to look to attract to our state. Really proud that I was able to facilitate the Department of Defense investing in MP Materials, which is headquartered in my district. This is a rare earth mine on the border of Nevada and California. This was a company that had sort of been left out of the contracting process and been passed over for an Australian-based mine. Brought that to the attention of the Defense Secretary Hegseth, and was happy to see a few weeks later the Department of Defense invest $10 billion into MP Materials for developing of a processing plant. So we're bringing that production not just back to the United States, but also supporting jobs in Nevada.
That's what I was just going to say. That really facilitates job creation, and that's something that is very near and dear to the heart of the Vegas Chamber.
Absolutely. And, I'll just say that I have been hearing from small businesses and the impacts of these tariffs really have made it incredibly tough for, materials, for ingredients, whether it's a, restaurant. And so we need to make sure that we're focusing on bringing down the cost because small businesses are the heart of our community as well.
Well, they really are, and they tell us on a regular basis how much they appreciate all the work that you do. I get questions about you all the time in particular, and so I know they're just very grateful for everything you do to advocate for all of us in Nevada.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Congresswoman Susie Lee, for being with us today. We appreciate all your support and your leadership and everything you do for all of us in Nevada.
Well, thank you, and thanks to the Chamber for being here.
Thank you very much. 2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses.
If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates.
The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
Become a water smart business and get recognized for your water conservation efforts. Upgrading to water efficient landscaping, dry cooling systems, and other water saving technologies makes a big difference. And by promoting water conservation, you're helping the community and your bottom line. Join SNWA's free Water Smart Business program today. Become a partner in conservation and reap the many benefits. Visit snwa.com to learn more.
I'm Beth Sewald with the Vegas Chamber, and we are here at our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on our 2025 Vegas Chamber, Washington, D.C. fly-in. I'm so honored today to be speaking with Congressman Mark Amodei. Sir, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for the invite, Mary Beth.
You know, our delegation always appreciates when you come and talk to them, and I know that you're a Cardinal now, and we're still very proud of you for that. But tell us a little bit about what are some of your most recent priorities? I know lands has been one.
Well, lands have been one. Obviously, with the appropriations assignment for Homeland, We're doing a lot in terms of, it's Coast Guard, it's CISA, the cyber stuff, which hits us all. I mean, even in Nevada, the state had a problem with cyber stuff recently, and so we're, airports, all that sort of thing. That keeps us pretty busy, and just the press of trying to. You can't do it all, but you try to prioritize. Like we've got a dozen things. Like we're really tracking closely this stuff. Some of that's defense, some of it's offense, some of it's oversight, that sort of thing. So it's just it's kind of a drinking from a fire hose a lot of the day.
Well, and as a member of the House Appropriations Committee, I know you have a lot going on there, but that's really important. And as a senior leader of the Nevada delegation, what are some of the things that you're able to move the needle on for Nevada?
Well, it's things that, since we're talking with chamber folks, it's things. Is there stuff we can do at the airport when problems come up? How TSA is staffing it? How Customs and Border Patrol is acting in the state? The things that they're doing. If there are programs that were canceled by this administration that maybe we think shouldn't have been, then we're following up with those appropriate folks in terms of Department of Agriculture, Trade Rep, all those sorts of things that frankly, it's amazing how much members, in my opinion, don't get personally involved. And so when you do, it's a little unusual for these agencies. And so it most of the time it's helpful in terms of getting people's attention to solve problems in Nevada, regardless of what the zip code in Nevada it affects, post office stuff, you name it.
Well, and you mentioned the airports. We have spoken with both of our airports. We had them on a panel this week. It was really good with the North and the South.
Right.
And they both, Reno and Las Vegas, have big plans for their airports. Are there any, and you often mention Senator Harry Reid,
Yeah.
and you say you kind of wish you had him back. I know he was instrumental in getting funding for airports. Is there anything new on the table there?
Well, Las Vegas, the volume is like what, 55-ish million a year versus Reno, which is like everything else, a fraction of that. But still, you've got to make sure that they're up to date in terms of what do they have in terms of the tower, what do they have in terms of their baggage handling, what do they have in terms of their processing time for international arrivals, which is a big thing in Las Vegas. So all of those sorts of things. We're working on baggage in Reno because their system's like, it's not as old as I am, but it's well on its way. And so all of those things, because the recognition is it's not controversial. Airports, whether it's Harry Reid or whether it's Reno Tahoe, are a big piece of the pie in terms of economic development and economic health in terms of Southern Nevada and in Western Nevada.
And tourism, of course, as you know, and we had Taylor Adams on from the North, and then we're talking a lot about aviation in Southern Nevada, so that's really important too. But you talk a lot about lands and things like that. What are some of the biggest priorities that you have on the docket right now to move things forward for Nevada?
Well, one of the things, we were just visited early in the week by the U.S. Travel Association, and the Judiciary Committee had decided that one of their pay-fors when they were putting together the big, beautiful bill was they were going to charge international visitors a $250 visa fee. And then allegedly, when you leave, you'd get that back. But there's no, how are you going to implement that? Well, as I'm not telling you anything you don't know, tourism is down right now. And a big piece of that was Canada. And as well as, and people are like, $250 for a visa fee on top of everything else, that's not helping it at all. So when you say, one of our big priorities is making sure that doesn't happen, which is, I suppose I could be more artful about, but I mean, that's the objective, make sure that never happens. So we're doing that, and by the way, that's not just Nevada, that's everybody who has a tourism-based segment of their economy. So that's a big deal. The lands bills are big deals. Making sure that the state doesn't lose any ground in terms of its military footprint, because that's a big part of the economic makeup of the areas that those are in. So you got Nellis, Creech, Fallon, all those other sort of things, National Guard on top of all of that. And so those are all things where you never can say mission accomplished. It's like you got to get up every day and go to the salt mine and mine some salt so that we keep our stuff squared away.
Well, Congressman Amodei, you've been just such a great leader on behalf of Nevada. We just really appreciate your leadership and everything you do for all of us. And thank you for your support of the Vegas Chamber and small business.
Well, let me back at you for a minute, because the Vegas Chamber, in all the time that I've worked with it, even when I was in the legislature, has always been phenomenally responsible in terms of, here's the problem, here's the facts. And so I guess the best thing I can say is, from your lobbyists to your members to the whole 9 yards, the Vegas Chamber has been very easy to work with and a valued partner with what we've done. So thank you very much.
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
leadership.
Well, we appreciate you on behalf of all of us at the Vegas Chamber. Thanks for your leadership. We appreciate you being here with us in Washington, D.C.
Well, yeah, you're welcome, and enjoy yourselves at the prom tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Cox has been a valuable supporter of this community for more than 25 years. We're here for you, your home, your business, your life. With Cox, you can do more of what you love every day. From Allegiant Stadium to your home, when the game is on the line, Cox Fiber helps everyone enjoy a winning experience. Extraordinary speed, exceptional reliability. You can count on Cox to keep you connected. And now with Cox Mobile, you can take that excellence on the go. We're here for your business too. With the technology you need to take on whatever's next, our reliable network has been critical to the growth plan of businesses from coast to coast. At Cox Business, helping you succeed is what drives us. We're proud to help businesses everywhere reach their customers and their goals. Our Cox Media team strives to be the full-service advertising partner you've always wanted. With over 30 years of media and advertising expertise, Cox Media can be the team behind your marketing success, so you can get back to doing more of what you love every day, bringing the world to your door, or your door to the world, and all at the speed of light.
Is there something more fabulous? I need something to chase, something to melt this face. I need Las Vegas. It's too much and never enough. Oh, welcome to fabulous. It's spectacular, outrageous, impossible stuff. You'll stop and yell, welcome to fabulous.
Las Vegas. The future is on, and we are ready. The Vegas Chamber invites you to preview Las Vegas. Visit vegaschamber.com for more information.
As we all know, our state is one of the fastest growing regions in the nation. And with that growth comes major challenges, from the lands bill to education, to water conservation, to housing demand, all topics that are being discussed today and throughout the week. With this growth has driven a need for greater investment in infrastructure and transportation combined with innovation. The first topic is around infrastructure and regional growth. How are each of your organizations prioritizing infrastructure to meet these challenges to serve both our residents and tourists? And with that, I will start with you, Mayor.
You've heard this word or words for how many years now, our Apex Industrial Park. You can go ahead and shake your heads. But we're just so proud of the progress that is happening out in that area. The city of North Las Vegas worked really hard on putting together a strategic plan or a roadmap. And part of one of those goals is to focus on public infrastructure, including roads and utilities. And so out at our Apex Industrial Park, we are just proud that we're working both with public and private partners to build out roads, water, and utility infrastructure, just to open up thousands of acres for manufacturing and logistics, and just creating local career opportunities for our residents. Last year in 2024, the Southern Nevada Water Authority, and I'd just like to give a shout out to Scott Black, our Mayor Pro Tem, who's I call him our water czar, who is on that board and is a strong ally for North Las Vegas. But they agreed to build out approximately an $800 million water and wastewater system. And so along with that, last month, President Trump did sign the Apex Area Technical Corrections Act, which I think deserves a round of applause again. And so that gives North Las Vegas more power, just more process and working with permitting, streamlining processes, and just for infrastructure in the enhancement. And so we're really proud about that progress because then we can get shovels in the ground faster. Developing can happen faster. And so it's just a win for everyone. And then I'd also like to give a huge thank you to our congressional representatives, Senator Cortez, Masto, also Congressman Stephen Horsford, for championing this passage of this bill. Another project that we're proud of is the I-15 widening project. And so, of course, transportation is in peril on that corridor. And so we know that probably 92% of Southern Nevada's goods are transported by truck, and just to make safe routes for transportation to and from. And it's also fostering that blueprint to move freight and mobility and also get our residents to and from in a safer passage. And then the last project that I'd like to mention is just our downtown Las Vegas Boulevard improvement project. And so it's set to break ground later this year. And so again, with that, part of our strategic goal, and especially in our downtown core, and it just will upgrade the infrastructure, including our water line, fiber and paving, and increased beautification, just through our upgraded sidewalks, upgraded mediums, just make it a beautiful project. And so with the development of our downtown gateway in our redevelopment area in North Las Vegas, it supports growth. It also supports our population with the increased mobility to get around and move safely throughout our downtown core. So we're really proud of those accomplishments.
So, Trevor, as you know, Congress has already started working on the next transportation reauthorization bill, as the bipartisan infrastructure law is set to expire this same time next year. How can the upcoming reauthorization bill best support projects that modernize transportation? What should we be advocating for?
I mean, consistent funding. I'm stealing Tracy's talking points because this is, a 5 or 6 year bill with the funding there, advance appropriations if we can. That makes sure that the money's up front and they can't be clawed back. I'm not going to get into the sort of last 9 months, but there's been a lot of uncertainty during the course of the transition as far as where some of the bipartisan infrastructure dollars were going. But yeah, our Team Nevada, is very good at going after these dollars. I think there's going to be a significant debate about how much we balance between the formula funds and the discretionary grants. Obviously, we want to make sure that Nevada gets more than its fair share, given that we are where we are with growth, and I'm concerned about, where we are with formulas matching where we are as far as growth. And so coming up with either programs or finding ways to ensure that we still have baseline or greater funding is going to be peak one, making sure it's a 5-year bill or giving some sort of longer term certainty is also the part. But then I go again to flexibility, because what I've learned in 9 years working on behalf of all of you guys is that some of these things become pilots, or new ideas come up every day. And, we were working on a different train, I think, when I first started, and now here we are with Brightline. And so making sure that these programs work on behalf of as effectively as we can. And we're working on some of the reforms that might unlock more funding for Brightline, be able to give, Tracy more tools at the state level, and then make sure that the communities have more resources. Again, whether it's discretionary or not is still, I think, on the table, but I can't commend my partners enough for going after them and hunting for them, because it's what other states are doing. So I compliment your guys' efforts in that respect.
Awesome. Thank you, Trevor. Now that we have covered a lot of our transportation priorities, both locally and nationally, for all panelists, as you close us out, if you could champion just one bold policy change in a few sentences to shape the future of transportation in Southern Nevada, what would that policy change be and why? And I'm going to start off with you, Joey.
Oh, good, because I think everybody's going to have this one. But I would want to create policy to really ensure that we have sustainable transportation funding for all modes of transportation. So that's everything associated with your roadways, all the way to the sidewalks, bike lanes. Transit is an extremely important component of that and our community. And then also, as I'd said earlier, our aging infrastructure. So we need to really make sure that we are balancing and making sure we have enough money to maintain what we have, in addition to building all of the new and shiny things.
Yeah, I think I would talk, about whatever we can do for as far as regional collaboration. Angela and her organization are required to come up with a plan. Tracy and others are, but thinking through the other implications, and where are people going to be housed? Where is our economic development coming from? Thinking about that in a more holistic way, not necessarily as a mandate, but as a carrot. Thinking of ways in which we can incentivize you guys to be thinking through where are you going to be in 2, 5, 10 years, and then being able to match those funds to that long-term planning. interesting because we got to develop the workforce. May not all be in one community. It may come from another. We might be moving them, as well as the homeless and other folks that we're trying to take care of. So as well as we can move things in a coordinated approach from community to community and statewide, I think would be something that would love to see.
Thank you.
And I think you're going to hear more of the same thing, but it is a coordinated approach. From my perspective, it's also looking within our state and working very close with the partners here, but also looking at my neighboring states as I look at the network of interstates. To make sure that we have supply chain reliability, military mobility, and also just real-time incident management. As we've noticed, we've stated a little bit before, whether it's fires, floods, just non-reoccurring incidents of major accidents or something like that, they're impacting how we can get around. And then more closely working with our partners in the communities in the rural areas, but also with the cities and the RTCs around the state. So it's finding sustainable funding and then that collaborated effort so that with this wonderful, unprecedented growth that we're seeing, that it's managed as we go.
Similar, just a strong investment in mass transit. Our city is growing. Our roads are crowded, and we're running out of space. And so, just where can we put people and move them safely in the most respected way and make sure that they're safe.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, this brings our discussion to a close. On behalf of the RTC, I also want to thank Mary Beth, Paul, and our many partners in this room. Just a year ago, we stood here talking about the importance of extending fuel revenue indexing locally so we can remain competitive federally. And today it's clear that we're not only prepared, but well positioned to seize on those opportunities. If there's one takeaway from this panel today, it's that an investment in transportation is an investment in Nevada's economy, our communities, and our future. Together with strong partnerships at every level, federal, state, and local, Southern Nevada stands ready to deliver. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Taking Care of Business. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with the Nevada delegation, and we hope you join us next year when we take LV to DC.